Adoption. We can be the change of the next generation. Changing the world is easier than you can imagine. Change a child's life through adoption. Adoption can and have changed the course of generations of adoptees' life, steering them into a life of endless possibilities. My purpose today is to help you see how and why you should be a part of this change. According to the U.S. Adoption Network, Adoption Facts, Adoption Research 2013, over 428,000 children are in foster care in the U.S. alone. Only 135,000 children are adopted in the U.S. each year. In 2015, over 670,000 children spent time in the U.S. foster care system. In America, no more than 2% of Americans have actually adopted a child, and more than 1/3 have considered adoption. 2% is not enough. And just considering adoption will not bring light, hope, and lasting change to these children. Among these children, males outnumbered females. African American children are disproportionately represented, and over half are only 6 years old. More than 60% of children in foster care spend 2 to 5 years before being adopted, and some never get adopted. The action or fact of legally taking another person's child and bringing them up as your own is truly remarkable and heroic. And some might think my actions alone will have little or no impact on the world. Well, I am here to say your sole impact affects us all. And I have a story to share all of this. By age 3, Casey Vu Sharp had experienced unremarkable loss, and in the next 2 years, he would experience so much more. His mother and his younger brother died when he was only 2, leaving his maternal grandmother to be his only caregiver. When he was 5, his older sister drowned in a river near their Vietnam home, and he then learned that his father had died too. That same year, his grandmother asked him to pack for a trip, which he would later find out was to an orphanage, where he would stay for 2 years before being adopted by a family in America. Nearly 25 years later, Mr. Sharp returned to Vietnam with friends from college who had talked him into returning to the orphanage. He found himself in a better position because he was adopted. He was in the position now to help these kids in his native country. And because of that, one person, made a difference. And I'm sure the difference he made in these kids' life was generational, has a generational impact. Positive effects of adoption. There are studies that suggest adoptees may be better off than children who are not adopted. In a 2007 report conducted by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, 85% of adopted children were found in very good to excellent health, and adopted children were more likely to have health insurance than children who were not adopted. Adopted children were also less likely to live in households below the poverty line. 68% of adoptees are read to every day as young children versus 48% of children who are not adopted. Adopted children have access to more opportunities and a head start in life. Long-term effects of being adopted include always having access to the opportunities that your adopted family was able to provide. While birth parents love their children immeasurably, they may not always be able to offer them all the opportunities and advantage that a family who is prepared and waiting for a child would be able to offer. Adoption is truly amazing, and I feel like everybody can help to do this to be a blessing to somebody's life. According to lovebrought.com, in Colombia, around 820,000 children under the age of 17 are orphaned. Over 8 million children around the world is living in institutions. Most of these children will grow up without ever knowing the love of a family. I am here to tell you that your impact mattered. You adopting one child will be a blessing to generations upon generations. Also, for you to help us and find somebody to adopt, go to Adoption All God's Children International or call 800-236-7898 and be the change.